Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's start the session. It's already 8:15. Uh, we're going to discuss something which is, we have done it elaborately here. It is the bread and butter of the surgeons. It is the core interest of the residents. And it is the core questioning of the examiners when you go for the FCPS Viva or the MS Viva. And it is something that all the urologists, all the examiners in Pakistan, around the world, they motivate themselves into achieving perfection in this type of surgery. Percutaneous nephrolithotomy is known to all. You have seen it, you have read it directly, indirectly. Our motive is not to teach you, but rather to facilitate you today. So we are going to ask the questions, you are going to answer, and we are just going to clarify concepts, make them concrete so that you understand what is PCNL.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. My name is Dr. Nadia and my topic of presentation today is percutaneous nephrolithotomy. In learning objective, we have indications, procedures and positions, techniques and complication. So basically PCNL is a minimally invasive procedure to remove stones from the kidney through a percutaneous axis.
Okay. Now, we've given the definition. So let's start with those. What are the indications of PCNL?
Stone larger than 2 centimeter, multiple stones, staghorn stone, hard with HU more than 1,000. Yes. Pelvic stones as well.
Encrusted DJ, good. Okay. You can use erythromatide to remove encrusted DJ. Anything else? कोई किडनी अगर एनाटॉमिकली डिफरेंट हो उसमें हम कर सकते हैं या हमें ओपन करने की जरूरत होती है?
उसमें कर सकते हैं, जैसे हॉर्सशू किडनी हो उसमें
ठीक है,
लोअर पोल स्टोन.
ओके, सही है. So let's see the indications. How much of them you've gotten right?
So in indications, we have renal stone burden of more than 2 centimeter or 1.5 centimeter for lower calyx stone, staghorn stones, stones that are difficult to disintegrate by lithotripsy that are comb, bruchite, and cystine, urinary tract obstruction that needs simultaneous correction like UPJ obstruction, malformation with reduced probability of fragment passage after lithotripsy, that is horseshoe kidney and calisal diverticula, and obesity.
Okay, now you understand. So it's not just the size of the stone. If it's stone anywhere in the kidney more than 2 centimeter, indication for PCNL. If it's in the lower calyx more than 1 or 1.5 centimeter, indication for PCNL. If it has a simultaneous obstruction like a PUGO, you go for a PCNL with antegrade pyeloplasty. Okay? If you've done ESWL multiple times, there is failure, the stone is hard, indication for PCNL. If you have done ESWL but the stones are not moving out, indication for PCNL. ठीक है? Obesity पतले लोगों में नहीं करना चाहिए इसका मतलब. Is that right? Obesity क्यों लिख दिया for PCNL?
सर ओबेसिटी में ESWL इफेक्टिव नहीं होता है.
इफेक्टिव नहीं होता, ठीक है. और यस, वेरी ट्रू, बिल्कुल. ओबीस लोगों के साथ प्रॉब्लम ये है कि उनमें एक तो सबसे मेडिकल इज द बिगेस्ट बुली अगेंस्ट दी ओबीस पीपल. कुछ चीज प्रूवन नहीं है, बस ओबेसिटी इज अ रिस्क फैक्टर. क्यों सर, ऐसी बात है ना? ठीक है. तो ओबेसिटी में इफ यू गो फॉर एन ओपन सर्जरी, यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फैट. जिन लोगों ने ओबीस पीपल में सर्जरी की हुई उन्होंने देखा है कि फैट रिट्रैक्शन बहुत मुश्किल हो जाती है, हैंडलिंग थोड़ी मुश्किल हो जाती है. फिर पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव केयर मोबिलाइजेशन बहुत डिफिकल्ट होती है बिकॉज ऑफ द वेट, एंड देन यू हैव कॉम्प्लिकेशंस. ओबेसिटी में ये हो जाता है कि मिनिमल इन्वेसिव है. ऑल यू नीड इज अ लॉन्गर शीथ टू गो इनसाइड, क्योंकि फैट टू किडनी डिस्टेंस बहुत ज्यादा होता है. यू नीड अ लॉन्गर साइड, एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली कि अगर ESWL आप देना चाहें तो वो रिफ्रैक्टिव, बिकॉज द स्किन टू स्टोन डिस्टेंस इज लॉन्गर. तो तनवीर, फिर व्हाट आर द रीजंस इन व्हिच यू विल नॉट डू PCNL?
Contraindications.
स्टोन्स कॉर्टेक्स में है, कोई वो नहीं है. इनफंडिबुलम नैरो है और इन्फेक्टेड स्टोन्स है।
अगर हम इसको डिवाइड कर दें इनटू एब्सोल्यूट कॉन्ट्राइंडिकेशन, रिलेटिव कॉन्ट्राइंडिकेशन, तो एब्सोल्यूट क्या होगा कि भाई इसको तो करना ही नहीं है पीसीएनएल।
एक तो
हाँ,
ब्लीडिंग डिसऑर्डर्स,
ओके, ब्लीडिंग डिसऑर्डर्स, आईएनआर बहुत रेज्ड है, प्लेटलेट्स कम है, ब्लीडिंग डिसऑर्डर्स है, टेंडेंसी टू ब्लीड इज मोर, ठीक है, और एक्टिव यूटीआई, ठीक है। तुमने तो कल लिस्ट बनाई है, इतनी अच्छी पीसीएनएल हमें दिखाएं, ठीक है, सबका बता, हम सबका एक एक पूछे, कल्चर क्या है सर?
जी
नो
सर,
ग्रोथ है,
ऐसे ही
तो
है।
अभी क्यों भूल गए? ठीक है, सो फॉर एक्टिव यूटीआई और प्रेगनेंसीज, रिलेटिव कॉन्ट्राइंडिकेशन,
रिलेटिव
रिलेटिव
Relative
और यस डिस्टल ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन, और यस चेस्ट कॉम्प्लिकेशंस होती हैं, उसमें प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो सकता है बिकॉज द पोजीशन मेक्स इट compromises the patient। और बताएं, रीनल ट्यूमर, एब्सोल्यूट कॉन्ट्राइंडिकेशन, ठीक है, और चलो लेट्स सी हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव मिस्ड थिंग्स।
Okay, so untreated coagulopathy and untreated UTI comes in absolute contraindications, pregnancy, tumor in presumptive access tract area, and potential malignant kidney tumor comes in relative contraindications.
So good, you've got at least you know when not to do PCNL, ठीक है। इंडिकेशन में कमजोरी थी, बट now you know when not to do। चले आगे चले।
Okay, so before going to PCNL, we need to understand the kidney anatomy and its
बस,
vasculature.
ये अब मैं जाता हूँ पीछे, आप लोग नए आए हैं ना, वेलकम टू SIU। अब मुझे बताएं कि डिस्क्राइब द एनाटॉमी ऑफ द किडनी। दिस इज योर फर्स्ट थॉट कि किडनी कैसे, हाउ आर दे फाउंड इन द रेट्रोपेरिटोनियम, बताएं। और जो भी आपको आता है, याद है, हाउ इज द किडनी पोजीशन, क्या है जस्ट टू द लंबर वर्टेब्रा, रिब्स क्या है, एंटीरियर क्या है, पोस्टीरियर क्या है, मीडियल क्या है, लैटरल क्या है। टाइम बिल्कुल नहीं है, बहुत इलैबोरेट टॉपिक है, नहीं आता आगे चलाएंगे। चलो भाई, कयूम वेलकम, बताओ व्हाट इज द एनाटॉमी।
Kidney lies in retroperitoneal space.
Okay.
First thing is surface anatomy or surface markings.
शाबाश, ओके,
We can palpate the vertebra.
हाँ हाँ
Vertebral level is important.
हाँ हाँ,
Right kidney slightly lower than due to the liver,
ठीक है,
and there is a relation, interior posterior relation of the kidney. Interior relation of the right kidney is different than left.
Okay.
Right kidney is liver, hepatic flexure,
okay,
and duodenum,
Duodenum.
and some part of duodenum. And the left kidney is spleen, splenic flexure, interiorly and posteriorly psoas quadratus lumborum,
ठीक है,
and then psoas minor major.
ठीक है,
And right kidney is also that same relations, psoas muscle, psoas minor, major, and quadratus lumborum.
ठीक।
And
So what are the ribs? Ribs कौन से rib cover करती हैं? वो भी anteriorly होती है ना? Ribs कौन सी है ज़्यादातर?
ribs from T12 to
नहीं, ribs
12th and 11th rib is posterior to the right kidney.
ठीक है, ठीक।
Yes.
So T अमूमन in the right side T10, 11 and 12, left side पे left side पे the 11th and the 12th rib because the left kidney as you said, ठीक है। अच्छा, ये हो गया। Medially क्या है? The pelvic hilum, it has all the great vessels, ठीक है। Laterally it's just the skin and fat, and so when you're doing PCNL you have to be sure of the anatomy because there are many structures which are going anteriorly, they are going posteriorly, so you need to go into a safe area. Anyone knows triangle of safety? हाँ, उसकी boundaries? एक triangle है जिसमें आप
Triangle of safety is we take for PCN the lower border of the 12th rib, medially spinous muscles, and our transverse process. We can feel if the lower is the iliac crest, and lateral side is posterior axillary line. That's a triangle of safety we can
नहीं ये मसल से बाउंडेड है, चलो we'll clarify this, ठीक है। ऊपर 12th rib है, laterally is the latissimus dorsi and और ये जो sorry laterally is this way, external oblique, यहाँ latissimus dorsi, inferiorly is the arc of the external oblique। अब वो अभी आपको बताते हैं, ठीक है। So let's just clarify, आपके anatomy देखते हैं। हाँ जी।
Kidneys lies adjacent to the vertebral bodies, usually extending from 11th or 12th rib to the 2nd or 3rd lumbar vertebra. Right kidney is displays a few centimeter inferior to the left kidney. The longitudinal axis of the kidney parallels the lateral edges of the psoas muscle about 30 degrees from the vertical, with the lower pole lateral to the upper pole. We can see this in this picture, kidneys being 30 degrees displaced from the frontal line, and the lower poles are being lateral than the upper poles.
सही है। तो एम्ब्रियो ये 30 डिग्रीज की डेविएशन कुछ पता है क्यों होती है? एम्ब्रियोलॉजी अगर पढ़ी हो, किडनीज आर यूजुअली इन द लोअर एब्डोमेन एंट्रोपोस्टेरियरली, देन फिर वो असेंड करते हैं टेकिंग द वेस्कुलेचर एंड देन दे मूव मीडियली और दे कम टू रेस्ट एट 30 डिग्रीज, ये एंगल पे आता है, ठीक है। सो अच्छा, अब आ जाते हैं रीनल वेस्कुलेचर पे। दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू पंचर अ किडनी। सो who's going to go who will explain the renal vasculature anatomy? Can you tell us about the renal vasculature? Artery आगे क्या divide होती है, फिर how does it come back into the renal vein, where does it drain? बताओ, तो टाइम नहीं है हमारे पास, बहुत बहुत ज्यादा स्लाइडें हैं। आता है तो ओके, नहीं आता तो आगे चला देंगे। आगे चला दें, ठीक है। कौन बताएगा? आप बता देंगे? कुछ थोड़ा सा और अच्छा बता दे, कहाँ कहाँ होती है रीनल आर्टरी, कहाँ होती है, कैसे एंटर होती है, आगे क्या होता है? नहीं, हाँ बताओ।
Artery and renal artery and renal vein supply the kidney, and artery divides into interior and posterior. Then they divide into segmental arteries, then interlobar arteries, arcuate, and
इंटरलोबार आर्टरीज कहाँ होती हैं, आर्कुएट कहाँ होती हैं?
arcuate साइड पे, बिल्कुल जहाँ पे लेटरल सरफेस पे।
ठीक है, near the papillas जो होते हैं उसके
Yes.
रूट पे होते हैं। This running adjacently is the
Interlobar.
interlobar artery। ठीक हो गया। फिर what happens? फिर क्या होता है? आर्कुएट आर्टरी,
आर्कुएट दोनों इंटीरियर पोस्टीरियर आती हैं, वहां पे लेटरल साइड पे हमारे पास एक एवेस्कुलर प्लेन बनाते हैं।
हाँ।
देन
फिर कैपिलरीज बन गई, फिर उसके बाद कैपिलरी के बाद फिर इफरेंट
साइनोसाइड
निकला, फिर जनाब वेन्स बनना शुरू हो गई।
यस,
and they go into the renal vein. Renal vein enters on the right side into the
IVC,
left side पे
IVC।
ठीक है, देखो सवाल सिर्फ ऐसे ही कह दिया, मुंह में कह दिया, ये क्या बात होगी?
लेफ्ट की लेंथ लॉन्ग होती है एज कंपेयर टू राइट। राइट इज अ शॉर्ट लेंथ।
So you need to understand, so whenever you're going to puncture, it's going to be in an avascular plane। ये जो एक vascular plane है, ये कौन सी जगह है? Broddel's line। कहाँ होती है?
लेटरल
नहीं,
लेटरल बॉर्डर ऑफ
Posterior lateral, basically.
lateral border of the kidney।
नहीं। अच्छा ये बताओ कि जो एंटीरियर सेगमेंट है वो किडनी को कौन सी एरिया सप्लाई करती है, जो पोस्टीरियर सेगमेंट है वो कौन सी किडनी को सप्लाई करती है? ठीक है ना, जो एंटीरियर सेगमेंट है वो अपर पोल को करती है, मिडिल को करती है, लोअर को करती है, या पोस्टीरियर सेगमेंट सबको करती है? ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन क्या है? इट इज द बुकिश है, तो मगर इनमें जाहिर इनमें वैरायटीज आती रहती हैं, बट व्हाट डज द बुक से?
लोअर सरफेस को सिर्फ पोस्टीरियरली एंड मिड और अपर को इंटीरियर।
अच्छा चलो अभी हम देखते हैं। मैं खोली है slide।
Sir, अभी भी खोलिए। Main renal artery divides into anterior and posterior branch. Anterior branch then divides into within or before the renal sinus into 4 anterior segmental arteries, being the apical, the lower segmental arteries, which supply the tip of the upper pole and the entire lower pole, and the upper and middle segmental arteries, which supply the remainder of the anterior half of the kidney. Posterior branch of the renal artery supplies the remainder of the posterior half of the kidney. We can see this in this picture. The wall of the anterior surface and the posterior surface on the upper and lower half is supplied by the anterior segmental arteries, and this area shaded in blue is supplied by posterior branch of the renal artery.
ठीक है, now you understand vasculature. अब broader line का है, it is in between the anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 of the kidney, an imaginary line running from the upper pole to the lower pole. How will you find that out? उसका एक तरीका है जो book में लिखा हुआ है, but it is out of the context of this topic. ठीक है, चले next.
Another important consideration for percutaneous renal surgery is determined by the anterior posterior orientation of the calyces, because the axis from the typical posterior lateral approach into the posterior calyx allows a relatively straight entry into the kidney, whereas the percutaneous puncture of an anterior calyx requires an acute angulation to enter the renal pelvis, which may not be possible with rigid instrumentation. Paired anterior and posterior calyces usually enter about 90 degrees from each another. And based on this orientation, the kidney is divided into two types, the Brodel type kidneys and Hodgson type of kidneys. In Brodel type of kidneys, the unit is rotated anteriorly such that the posterior calyx are about 20 degrees behind the frontal plane, and the anterior calyces are 70 degrees in front of the frontal plane. Hence, the posterior calyces are lateral and the anterior calyces are medial in this case. And the other one is the Hodgson type kidney, which is totally opposite from the Brodel type. The calyceal pairs are rotated posteriorly, with the posterior calyx 70 degrees behind the frontal plane and appearing medially, and anterior calyces are 20 degrees in front of the frontal plane. Most of the right kidneys have Brodel type orientation, and most of the left kidneys have Hodgson type of orientation.
ठीक है, so समझ किसी को नहीं आया होगा. समझ इसलिए नहीं आया था क्योंकि ये जो दो एनाटॉमिकल ये जो वेरिएशंस हैं, ये होता है कि आप सीटी कंसोल में बैठे में विद अ रेडियोलॉजिस्ट, ही हैज अ सीटी यूरोग्राम इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू, और वो आपको ये कैलकुलेट करके देता है एंगल्स, एंड ही टेल्स यू व्हाट टाइप ऑफ वैरायटी द कैलिशियल ओरिएंटेशन इज. बट आपने देखा जब हम लोग पीसीएनएल करते हैं तो हमारा जो कंसंट्रेशन होता है, इट इज ऑन हाउ टू सेफली पंचर and how to get into a straight line into that calyceal system. ठीक हो गया? So anyone knows how the anatomy of the draining system, ये pelvis कैसे बनता है? How is the renal pelvis formed? वो बता दो. How calyceal general calyceal orientation कैसी है? आगे क्या होता है? फिर क्या होता है? Eventually, how does the pelvis form?
Starting from nephron, first the collecting system of the nephron, and then the collecting duct, and then drain into minor calyces, major calyces, then renal papilla, then draining into the pelvis.
Good. So now the calyces are orientated. If you see it from in front like this, but if you see it from above, तो एक anterior posterior आपको हो जाता है. So which calyx you should enter in PCNL? Posteriorly. ठीक है. अगर supine हो तो कैसे जाएंगे posteriorly? ठीक है. तो not in prone position you enter posteriorly, but you need to vary yourselves according to the position as well. ये हम अभी आपको आगे हम पढ़ते जाते हैं. ठीक है.
Okay, the PCNL is further modified into multiple types based on the access tract that we use. Standard PCNL is the one which uses 24 to 30 FR sheath. Mini PCNL is the one using 14 to 20 FR sheath. Ultra mini PCNL is the one which uses 11 to 13 FR sheath, and micro PCNL which uses 4.8 FR sheath.
ठीक, thank you. अच्छा, now why has this modification come? इसकी advantages क्या हैं, disadvantages क्या हैं? Why decreasing the size from all the way from 30 FR to come down to 4.8 FR? Okay, और चलो in pediatrics और stone burden समझ नहीं आई. Smaller stone burdens, ठीक है, और थोड़ा सा ब्लीडिंग का कम, और Anything else? Why the itni modifications over the years? सर मैं सर खुद इसलिए नहीं सर मैंने इनको कहा मेरे पास नहीं है तो मैं आ जाता हूँ आपके पास ठीक है चलो लेट्स सी हाउ मच ऑफ यू गॉट इट राइट चलें नेक्स्ट आगे बताएं
So the procedure of PCNL has its own advantages and disadvantages. In advantages, we have reduced blood loss, decreased length of hospital stay, reduced analgesia requirement. And in disadvantages, we have longer operative time, need to fragment stone into small pieces before we can extract them, and poor visualization in presence of bleeding. So this is what we do.
हम यहीं रुक जाते हैं अब हाँ तनवीर ने तो बहुत अच्छी लेस उसको पता होगा और कौन है चलो तनवीर हाउ वुड यू प्रिपेयर दिस पेशेंट जब आप पेशेंट को प्रिपेयर करते हैं हमने ऑर्डर कर दिया पीसीएनएल नाउ ही हैज कम फॉर द सर्जरी सो व्हाट विल यू इंश्योर दैट इट विल बी अवेलेबल इन दैट पेशेंट
Culture should be negative and labs INR
ठीक है
should be normal and
लैब्स
HB
में लैब कौन से बहुत
HB
एचबी ओके
TLC
हाँ
within normal limit
हाँ
INR
ठीक है
and
फिर
pregnancy ना हो
चलो
और-
मेल है तो हम उसमें नहीं पूछेंगे और हाँ बताओ
और distal obstruction ना हो
भाई कैसे देखेंगे बताओ तो सही देखो ना आप एक क्रेटनिन मिस कर रहे हो सीटी
अच्छा।
होना चाहिए
CT होना चाहिए
हम्म।
और एक्सरे KUB होना चाहिए
अच्छा चलो वो भी ऑप्शनल है
और चेस्ट एक्सरे एंड कार्डियक GA फिटनेस
चलो आगे देखते हैं लेट्स सी व्हाट ही हैज मिस्ड
So we take complete history and examine the patient. We send the baseline, including CP, UC, and coagulation profile. We send urine cultures, blood group, CT scan, retrograde palography, and renal scan if indicated.
देखो ना आप नंबर वन पाए तो यू शुड नो दैट द किडनी इज हेल्दी इनफ टू टॉलरेट अ पीसीएनएल इसलिए रीनल स्कैन लिखा हुआ है ठीक है रेट्रोग्रेड पाइलोग्राफी लिखी हुई है अब जैसे अब ये हमारा चूंकि वी आर हाई वॉल्यूम सेंटर तो वी यूजुअली डू अ सीटी केयूबी देन ऑन टेबल हम वो करते हैं रेट्रोग्रेड बट सर्टेन सेटिंग्स होती हैं जैसे कि प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स होते हैं मेरे सुपरवाइजर भी कहते थे कि नेवर टच अ पेशेंट विद रीनल स्टोन्स या रीनल पैथोलॉजी अनलेस यू हैव अ कंट्रास्ट स्टडी और until you know the anatomy and the drainage of the kidney. So CT, urogram, yeah, any contrast study like an intravenous urogram should be there so that you should know the caliceal anatomy. आप on table patient से पहले ही discuss करते हैं कि हम आपका PCNL अगर हो सकता है नहीं हो सकता open का कितना रिस्क है because this is a part of the counseling. वो आएगा कि मेरा PCNL होगा but if you do on table the patient is under anesthesia, you do a retrograde pyelography, but you find that the anatomy is so complex that you cannot do a PCNL safely. So it is better for an open, but you do not have consent for open. But हमारे setting में different है because we are hard volume center patients हमारी decision को trust करते हैं. But जहाँ litigations बहुत ज़्यादा होती हैं, वहाँ आपको हर चीज पहले ही decide करके you have to tell the patient that how you will proceed. ठीक है?
दो इम्पोर्टेंट चीजें एक तो हम ये हिस्ट्री और एग्जामिनेशन अक्सर मिस कर जाते हैं जो कि बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है और यूरिन कल्चर
जी सर
क्योंकि इन्वेजिव प्रोसीजर है जहाँ पे आप बहुत सारा इरिगेंट यूज करते हैं नॉर्मल सेलाइन और रेट्रोग्रेडली भी आप ऑपरेट करते हैं इंटीग्रेटली भी करते हैं तो दो इम्पोर्टेंट चीजें इन्होंने मिस की सर एक तो कंप्लीट हिस्ट्री एंड एग्जामिनेशन जो कि बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है एग्जामिनेशन तो हमारे आजकल उससे हाथ से निकल ही रहा है ओपीडी में भी देखे ना 4 लाइन लिख के बच्चे वो आपका इंतजार करते हैं सर आगे क्या करें तो ये इम्पोर्टेंट चीजें मिस करना ठीक नहीं है इम्तिहान में भी अगर आप ये मिस करेंगे ना तो फिर इसकी सजा है कोई बड़ी चीज मिस कर दी तो एग्जामिनर कहता है चलो कोई बात नहीं ये जो इम्पोर्टेंट बेसिक चीजें हैं ना वो मिस होंगी तो फिर एग्जामिनर फिर नहीं बख्श करता ये है
Okay, this slide summarizes all the
जी।
steps of the PCNL. We
सही
give
है।
anesthesia and
बस
then the
ये
positioning.
पूछते हैं अभी अब काफी पीसीएनएल हो गए, बताओ व्हाट आर द स्टेप्स ऑफ पीसीएनएल अंडर ट्रैफिक लास्ट 2 वीक्स।
सबसे पहले तो we take the patient in the OT after identification and proper counseling. We take the patient on the table. Uh, Anesthesia is given. What we do, we first start with an RPG because we don't have the Achilles anatomy.
ठीक है।
We do an RPG, then we decide whether to go supine or prone, or even if this case can be done in PCNL, or we have to go for an open surgery, or even some cases we only end up deciding that we'll do an ESWL in this case. After all, no need for further progression. We place a ureteric catheter. The position, we have decided that whether it's a supine or a prone, we change the position of the patient. In case of prone, we make a prone position. In case of supine, we make well deviated Gildago position.
ठीक है।
We again prepare the patient for the puncture. Under the radio guidance, we proceed with the puncture, dilate the track. We place in a guide wire, we dilate with facial dilators, then place in a central rod. We dilate it up till the whatever size we are planning, whether it's a standard PCNL or a mini PCNL. We place an implant sheet. We start our stone fragmentation.
चलो, but one of the most important steps before all this is informed consent. Informed consent, ठीक है, and confirmation of site. तो सही है, पढ़ लिया तो पूरा। तो now in the informed consent, what will you counsel the patient? You are going for PCNL. You have to tell the pros and cons to the patient about PCNL. So what will you tell him?
First of all, we will ask the patient that what procedure we are going to do with the patient, and we have, just like in PCNL, we will first inform the patient that we will go through a small incision. We will track that. We will dilate that.
नहीं, we will not tell him the procedure. आपने बता दी है, वो हमने अभी डॉक्टर राफे ने बताया। आपने उसके pros and cons बताने के, PCNL का फायदा क्या है, and what are the complications that can occur?
Pros of the PCNL are that there will be small incision. There will be the less pain as compared to the pyrolithotomy or open procedure. There will be less hospital stay, and these are the some pros. And there will cons include that stone might be retained there. We will not fragment all the stone, or there will be some residual stones after the procedure,
ठीक है।
and there will be the gut injury and hydrothorax patient most develop if we are going supracostal.
और सबसे important चीज ही मिस कर दी, bleeding.
Bleeding, yes,
इतनी bleeding
Bleeding.
can be minor,
can be major.
that can be prevented by just normal tamponade, can be moderate, needing angioembolization, can be so severe, needing life-saving nephrectomy. ठीक है, ये सब उसके आता है काउंसलिंग।
चेस्ट ट्यूब का जिक्र है सर? नहीं
जी सर, चेस्ट ट्यूब का बिल्कुल है, चेस्ट ट्यूब ठीक है ना, along with gut injury, parallel जो होते हैं। चलो, the next.
So this is a prone position for PCNL. This is the completely supine position, and we have other positions as well. This is the bar flank pre-supine position. This is a split leg, which allows simultaneous RPG and the PCNL in one position. This is the prone flexed. This is the modified Valdivia position, and this is Galdeco modified Valdivia position.
So, you know the different positions. Why the different positions? Which position do we make in the OT? Anyone बताएं? Modified Valdivia बनाते हैं ना। अब इसका फायदा क्या हो जाता है? इतनी हम सिंपली प्रोन रख देते हैं, सुपाइन रख देते हैं, या हम सिंपली एक पोजीशन बना दें। तो अभी एक एडवांटेज तो ने बता दिया, जैसे ओपन स्प्लिट लेग में आप एक ही पोजीशन में पेशेंट को रखे, उसी पे आरपीजी कर दिया, उसी में आपने पीसीएनएल कर दिया। तो इस पोजीशन का क्या एडवांटेज है जो हम करते हैं? हाँ यस, ये लफ्ज यूज किया।
PCIRS कर सकते
हाँ
हैं इसमें।
कंबाइंड PCNL एंड नीचे से
IRS.
RIRS, ठीक है। सो दिस गिव्स यू द simultaneous access percutaneously into the kidneys, and from the lower tract you can go into the ureter system if you need simultaneous access. चलें।
It is dictated, the choice of calyx is dictated by the patient positioning. If the patient is prone, then the posterior calyces are most accessible, whereas if the patient is supine, then the anterior ones are preferred. Access should never be directly through the renal pelvis, and caution should be exercised when puncturing in a location with atrophic renal parenchyma, as sealing of the tract can be compromised.
अच्छा, इसमें एक चीज और भी इम्पोर्टेंट है कि जो कैलिक्स आपको स्टोन तक पहुंचा है, दैट शुड बी पंक्चर्ड, ठीक है।
Puncture into the upper calyx provides a more versatile access as the renal pelvis, proximal ureter, lower pole, and in some cases the interpolar calyxes can be accessed with combination of rigid and flexible instrumentation. We have two approaches for PCNL.
ओके, एक मिनट। अब ये जो जूनियर्स आए हैं इनसे पूछते हैं, ये जो प्लूरा है इसकी रिफ्लेक्शन की एक्सपेक्ट बता दें। हाउ डज द प्लूरा रिफ्लेक्ट? इंस्पिरेशन में कहां तक लोअर बॉर्डर आता है प्लूरा का, और एक्सपिरेशन में कहां तक आता है? दोनों में से किसी। You need to keep the pleura in mind. तो प्लूरा का जो लोअर लिमिट्स है वो कहां तक आते हैं? इंस्पिरेशन में कहां तक आता है, एक्सपिरेशन में कहां तक आता है? नहीं? एनीवन एल्स? इंस्पिरेशन में किस लेवल तक प्लूरा आता है? कंप्लीट इंस्पिरेशन में 12th rib तक, और कंप्लीट एक्सपिरेशन में डायफ्राम गोज अप, प्लूरा गोज राइट अप टू 10th or 11th rib, ठीक है। नाउ these are the two punches, supracostal and subcostal. तो प्रोन पोजीशन में आपको अब जो प्लूरा है that is what you need to save along with the gut. So if it is supra, which is more prone, supracostal or infracostal? So then you need to modify the breathing pattern to ensure safe access into the kidneys without damaging the pleura.
Okay, this is a diagrammatic presentation of the marking that we do during PCNL. This this is the lined area in which the puncture is usually done below the 12th rib, and on the medial side is the sacrospinalis muscle, and below is the iliac crest. This is the marking of in supine position. The entry zone is behind the posterior axillary line.
This is important. This should be drawn on every patient. Every resident who is standing on PCNL should, when the patient is anesthetized, should pick up a marker and draw these landmarks. So, the anterior axillary line should be marked, the posterior axillary line should be marked, the ribs should be marked, the iliac crest should be marked, so that through these markings you know where is the safe area of entry. Okay? This practice is done today and will continue and should be ensured by all the residents that it should be done on the patient. Next.
Percutaneous access can. सर यहाँ पे जो है ना कोलोन मोस्टली होता है, तो अगर हम इस एरिया में पंक्चर करेंगे तो कोलोन को इंजर करने के चांसेस होते हैं हमारे। जी।
अच्छा, अब बताएं व्हाट आर द इमेजिंग टेक्निक्स, विजुअलाइजेशन टेक्निक्स फॉर पंचरिंग?
अल्ट्रासाउंड गाइडेड एंड द फ्लोरोस्कोपी गाइडेड, और
सीटी एमआरआई करते हैं। अच्छा, ये ब्लाइंड एक्सेस, जो ट्रायंगल ऑफ सेफ्टी की बात कर रहा था ना शुभ सुबह, अब इसमें बात आती है ब्लाइंड एक्सेस। चलें आगे।
So in fluoroscopic guided access, we have two techniques. The one is bullseye technique, and the second is triangulation techniques. This is the bullseye techniques we will be sharing in a video.
Let us take a look at the step-by-step procedure for the bullseye technique. Bullseye technique by and large is the most easy to learn, replicate, and is advisable that you learn this technique above all other techniques. It is a good technique for the novice. We would be learning the right renal puncture as seen from the caudal view of the patient. First, you should inspect the pelvic-ileal system with contrast in 0 degrees using the fluoroscopy unit. Then identify the posterior calyx by rotating the fluoroscopy from 0 degrees to 30 degrees, keeping the fluoroscopy on. The calyx which moves relatively medially is the posterior calyx. Once identified, select the desired posterior calyx for puncture. Ask for apnea in expiration. Turn the C-arm to approximately 30 degrees. C-arm can additionally be rotated craniad or caudad to bring it more in line with the axis of the infundibulum of the selected calyx. Make a skin stab over the desired calyx. So now the target calyx, the skin stab, and the C-arm camera all lie in a single straight line. Logically, if the needle is passed along the same direction, it will reach the calyx. Insert the initial puncture needle in line with the direction of the C-arm and penetrate the parodes. Rotate the initial puncture needle in a spiral fashion under fluoroscopy to turn it into a point. Thus, the initial puncture needle now looks like a bullseye. The initial puncture needle would lie in the line connecting the C-arm to the calyx. Maintaining the bullseye, the needle is inserted till the kidney moves or jiggles. This indicates the needle tip reaching the renal capsule. In order to confirm the depth of penetration, rotate the C-arm back to 0 degree. Use 0 degrees fluoroscopy to assess the depth of puncture and further insert the needle into the calyx. Confirm the puncture with free flow of urine.
And this is the second technique. Sorry, I couldn't find a good video of it, but
in the triangulation position over the patient. In the triangulation technique, the C-arm is positioned over the patient in the vertical 90-degree position, and the skin over the desired calyx is marked. This plane defines the medial extent of needle penetration for access to the desired calyx. The C-arm is then rotated 30 degrees towards the surgeon for an end-on view of the posterior group of calyces. With the C-arm at 30 degrees, the skin site over the calyx is marked lateral to the first side. The surgeon uses this point on the skin surface to move in a vertical line inferiorly until a site 1 to 2 centimeters below the 12th rib is reached. This third site is marked and serves as the site of needle entry. From this point, the needle is advanced to the junction of the vertical plane and the 30-degree plane. Access is achieved at the junction of all three axes, hence the term triangulation. In clinical practice, in order to decrease radiation to the surgeon, the C-arm is angled away from the line of puncture with the image intensifier angled towards the head of the patient. The C-arm is moved back and forth between two positions, one that is parallel and one that is oblique to the line of puncture. With the C-arm in the parallel position, adjustments are made in the mediolateral direction, right to left. With the C-arm in the oblique position, adjustments are made in the cephalad-caudal direction, up to down. It is crucial to only make adjustments in one direction at a time and to respect the different orientations as they pertain to the C-arm position.
Okay, then comes the blind axis. In the only situation in which this should be considered if the sonography is not available or if there is complete urethral obstruction. The lumbar notch, also known as the superior lumbar triangle or Greenfield lumbar triangle, is the reliable landmark for the blind percutaneous axis. Its landmarks include a 12th rib and latissimus dorsi superiorly, transversus abdominis muscle and external oblique muscle laterally, the quadratus lumborum muscle and sacrospinalis muscle medially, and inferior oblique muscle inferiorly. Needle is inserted 3 to 4 centimeter deep into this notch at 30 degrees cephalic angle to enter the collecting system. And this can be shown in this picture. This is the area which is devoid of muscle, and most of the PCN or the PCNL puncture is done in this area. So for the percutaneous puncture, we use two type of needle, the one with 18 gauge and the second is 20 gauge. Both has its own advantages and disadvantages. 18 gauge needle uses guide wire of 0.035 and it is more traumatic, so multiple passes should be avoided. It is stiffer and for experienced operators. 20 gauge needles uses a guide wire of 0.018 and it has relatively mild injury. Multiple access can be made with little hemorrhage risk. It is less stiff, so doesn't adequately maintain the trajectory, and it is for less experienced operators. And 0.018 guide wire should be replaced by the standard 0.0351 after the percutaneous puncture. And after the percutaneous puncture, we develop the tract and then we dilate it. And for the development of tract and dilatation, 3 types of facial dilators are used: the Amphel Teflon dilators, Alken telescopic metal dilators, and balloon dilators. And these are shown in this picture. The one is facial dilator. The second picture shows the Alken telescopic metal dilators, and the third one is the balloon dilators. After dilating the tract to the desired side, which is generally 26 to 30 FR, and sheath is slipped over the dilators and manipulated into the collecting system. The sheath provides a tamponade to stop any bleeding from the freshly developed tract, while at the same time it serves as a conduit for introducing instruments and a channel for irrigation, allowing fluid to flow out easily. And this is the last step, which is a nephroscopy and a stone extraction. And small stone can be retrieved with the rigid stone forceps, and larger stone can be fragmented first by one of the following energies, which include ultrasonic lithotripsy, holmium bladed lithotripsy, and pneumatic lithotripsy. Okay, so a question arises when to do multiple punctures in a kidney. The indications include large stones, complex stones, and staghorn stones. And post PCNL tube drainage via tubeless PCNL, we give kidney drainage in following conditions: in cases with more than 2 access tracts, infectious stones that are mostly staghorn, significant intraoperative bleeding, or where a second look is anticipated, urine extravasation, urethral obstruction, or presence of residual stones and solitary kidney. And these are the conditions in which a totally tubeless PCNL should be done, including low volume stones, atraumatic single axis, no hemorrhage, no perforation, and no obstruction. So both supine and prone PCNL has their own advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of prone PCNL include broad surface area for puncture, easy access to posterior calyx, short tract length, wider space for instrument manipulation, and access to upper calyx and multiple calyces axis. In disadvantages, we have patient positioning may prolong a surgical time, risk of respiratory compromise and increase peak arterial pressure, risk of IVC compression, reduction in venous return and hypotension, and theoretical risk of eye complication. Advantages of supine PCNL include simultaneous.
Respiratory compromise वाले point कहाँ से?
Sir, lung expand.
Special.
Sir, lung expands नहीं होंगे.
नहीं कहाँ से point ये कहाँ से उठाई?
Sir, book से. कैंपबेल से
नहीं कैंपबेल में ऐसे नहीं है
सर कैंपबेल से ही बनाई है
देखिए कैंपबेल में ये लिखा हुआ है कि रेस्पिरेटरी कंप्रोमाइज प्रोन में कम है बिकॉज ऑफ द पोजीशनिंग हम एब्डामिन को फ्री मूवमेंट के लिए वो कुछ बहुत ही ज्यादा हैवी पेशेंट्स होते हैं जिसका एब्डामिन जो है वो कंप्रेस होता है बेड के साथ जब एब्डामिन की मूवमेंट फ्री होगी तो डायफ्राम फ्रीली मूव करेगा and that will be most favorable for respiratory functions in that case. ये सारी स्टेटमेंट कैम्पबेल में लिखी हुई, लेकिन मैंने कहीं ये नहीं पढ़ी कि प्रोन में जो है वो रेस्पिरेटरी कंप्रोमाइज होती है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो वेंट पे पेशेंट की रेस्पिरेशन हो रही होती है वो डायफ्रामेटिक मूवमेंट पे हो रही है. प्री डायफ्रामेटिक मूवमेंट विल अलो गुड रेस्पिरेशन एज कम्पेयर टू सुपाइन. सुपाइन में हम कभी ओबीस पेशेंट्स में टेप भी लगाते हैं, पेशेंट का अपना वेट भी होता है, उसमें इतनी फ्री मूवमेंट नहीं होती जितनी जो है वो डायफ्राम की फ्री मूवमेंट जो है वो प्रोन में होती है, क्योंकि हम पेडिंग करते हैं और एब्डामेन को फ्री छोड़ते हैं.
Yes, sir. And advantages of supine PCNL include simultaneous URS combined approach, no need for patient positioning, and possible shorter surgical time, decrease irrigation pressure, possibly benefits for infections, and better stone fragments washout and surgeon comfort. In disadvantages, we include large tract length, limited instrument manipulation, higher kidney mobility, and difficult puncture with tract dilatation. Upper calyx access is difficult. Establishment of multiple tract may be difficult. Complex position for morbid and extremely morbid obese patient. Okay, so now we come to the complication. The first one is acute hemorrhage, which we see in 0.5 to 4% of procedures. Factors associated include patient characteristic, multiple access site, supracostal access, increasing tract size, tract dilatation with methods other than balloon dilatations, prolonged operative time, and renal pelvic perforation. Exit sheet should provide intra-op tamponade of the parenchymal bleeding. Postoperatively, hemostasis is achieved by collapse of the parenchyma onto itself. In general, the best management is to insert and occlude a nephrostomy tube, place a pressure on incision, and let the collecting system clot off. Other include cauterization and placement of hemostatic materials. And then comes the delayed hemorrhage, which we see in less than 1% of patients, and it can occur with a nephrostomy tube in place at the time of tube removal and after the discharge of the patient from the hospital. It is usually caused by arteriovenous fistula or arterial pseudoaneurysms, later being the more common. It occurs when a paired set of artery and vein are injured and arterial blood enters directly into the vein. The weak vein wall cannot sustain the higher arterial pressure and ruptures. An arterial pseudoaneurysm occurs when an artery is injured, clots off, and then immediately ruptures after clotting off again at variable intervals. Cases should be promptly evaluated with angiography, which is diagnostic in more than 90% of cases, and it is treated with selective angioembolization, which is associated with partial or total renal loss if it is not selective enough. We can see a picture of pseudoaneurysm in the below pictures. And the second picture is post-angioembolization, in which we see the lower pole of the cortex is lost. And this is a picture of pseudoaneurysm. Oh, sorry, arteriovenous fistula. We can see the contrast draining from the renal artery, going from the renal artery to the arteriovenous fistula, and then it is draining in the IVC. The third complication is...
Achha, this, so we wanted, it's 9 and we wanted to end here. So this is one take-home message that you should know. Whether it is supine or prone, you should know, you should know both the procedures. The objective is that you should give maximum clearance, stone clearance to the patient. If it is achieved through the prone, you go for prone. If it is achievable through supine, you go for supine. This is always a hot topic in the meetings of urologists, and and till date there has been no consensus in which procedure is advantage, because there is whether it is supine or prone, there is no position which has superseded the other. But the objective is to give the maximum benefit to the patient, and the deadliest complication that you have other than infection is hemorrhage, and you should be able to recognize hematuria, treat the hematuria, and save the life of the patient if the hematuria is severe, and make sure that all the benefits is given to the patient. Okay. Any comments from the...
Large stone or Stegan stones are not the indications for multi-track PCNL. Complex stones is. Yes, there may be relative indication for larger stones and Stegan stones for the need of 2 or 3 punctures. I don't think I have heard simultaneous 2 working punctures in the kidney. Accuracies in other procedure. one is going from transurethral route and one is coming from above. That is a separate mode, but two punctures working at simultaneous time, I haven't heard about it. So larger stones may be performed two separate settings for PCNL through a single tray. And for Stegan, if there is no complex system, single puncture will be enough for PCNL and Stegan stones. We have performed these things, but Stegan stone complex and complex anatomy with smaller stones at separate areas will be the indication for multi-track PCNL. So,
any questions from the audience? And residents in Sakkar, any questions or any comments?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
जी जनाब, कोई सवाल जवाब?
सर बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक था और
जी।
किडनी का एनाटॉमी का पता चला।
Thank you.
If there's no question, we'll conclude the session. Thank you very much.